still pretty cute. I'll still probably use it since it's still the coldest month of the year. Coldest month of the year. Coldest month of the year. And I am over it. It has gotten to the point in winter where I'm over the snow. I'm over having to layer upon layer upon layer just to go outside. I'm just over it. I've had this idea for a while, and with it being so close to spring, and the little frog fairy, gremlin, whatever it's in my brain, keeps on inching and inching, going like, Whimsy. Make everything whimsy. So I thought, to make the little fairy gremlin in my brain more happy this week, we would make my office just a little bit more whimsy. So this is the corner of my office where we'll be working with. I have my bookshelf here. We have a closet that we rarely use. Right now is being protected by Leonard. The little wreath I made last September, 2 Septembers ago. Time is weird. We have my makeup vanity. This wall used to be where my fake cakes were, but I've moved them to a different wall so I can add some more whimsical stuff here. And then off camera, it's the door to the office. The idea is to add fake plants, some new decor. We're going to do as much as we can without painting the walls or the doors. So let me show you what I have in mind for the design. For the bookshelf in Leonard's door, I'm going to add a tree-like fabric to the door and some fake plants surrounding the bookshelf. For the makeup vanity and wall, I'm going to add some fake greenery to act as storage, as well as some decor. Lastly, for the entry door, I'm going to take this old Christmas decoration and turn it into a hobbit hole door. Here's what the space looks like before, and hopefully after. So let's get started. Hello! So earlier today, I spent the time working on painting things. So that included frames, and I also painted the old Christmas decoration all black, so when I make the hobbit door, it doesn't shine through. Thought that it would be a good start to this project with the wall, with all the greenery. I got 2 of these little greenery mats. I got, what are these called? Basic greenery sheets, mats, whatever. And I got a bunch of command strips. They're going to be my best friend during these projects. And we're just going to hang them up on the wall. So let's do that. Do I want to time-lapse this? Probably. Time-lapse time. Time-lapse time. Time-lapse time. Okay. That wasn't so bad. I did have to go up top of this little ladder, and it was a little scary, but you know what? She's so brave. She's being brave today. Anyways, so here it is. Last year, or 2 years ago, once again, time. There was this trend on TikTok where people would be putting greenery up. Or maybe it was just one person. I'm going to look up who did this trend, and I'm going to pop it up right here. They took their hair clips and put it on some fake greenery. And that sounds like a wonderful idea. Currently, my hair clips live on the tiny little shelf that we have on top of our toilet. And it could fall at any moment. First clip, here we go.
Wow.
Can't even see it. Let's bring you closer. So that's it. Pretty simple. I'm a little worried that the command strips, it would get too heavy. But with this amount of hair clips, it's not really that bad. And it gives me a little bit of extra greenery that I wanted. So yeah. Pretty happy. Hello. we are going to be making little mushrooms that are going to go on the Hobbit door, Leonard's door, and maybe bookshelf. For sculpting medium, they're going to be foam clay, and if that's dried out, air dry clay. Here it's a nice little ball, and we're flattening it on both the top and the bottom and on the side. So I'm just kind of rotating that to kind of get the little top of the mushroom. And then for the stem, we'll make a little tube. So I'm kind of just squeeze and turning. Do you guys remember that snack called, oh, what is it called? But it had like, it was this kind of shape, but it had like pizza flavoring inside. Makes me want one of those now, not gonna lie. Okay. And then we're just gonna literally just using the back of a paintbrush and just smushing it. And there we go. Got a little mushroom. For the more flatter mushrooms, like the shelving ones, all I'm doing is just taking a big bunch, squishing it until it's like that piece of dough, kind of shaping it by like pinching, because we don't want it to be like smooth all around. Taking the back end of the brush again, but this time kind of just pushing it in, giving it a couple like dimensions. And it's okay if it kind of folds on itself because we want it to be more organic. So I'm just playing around with kind of adding more ridges and adding more folds. Once I'm happy with it, it's a little piece of fungi. And today we are going to work on the bookshelf. So while at Joann's, I got a bunch of different greenery that I'm going to place on the different shelves to give the books and the figures that I have a little bit of a border. To attach it, tape is definitely not going to be enough. So we're going to use our good old friend command strips and command hooks. And I think I'm going to add little hooks to like each of like the corners. So the vinery can have, vinery a word? The vines and the greenery have something to hang off on. So let's get started. Not gonna lie, I really didn't have a plan putting these up. All I knew is I had 3 vines that I could use and this much space. So what I ended up doing was taking the vine with the smaller leaves and the bark in the middle, and then having the bigger leaves on top and on the bottom spread out enough that it didn't look too top heavy or too bottom heavy. Here's what I'm thinking. After I make the Hobbit door, if I have any leftover mushrooms, I'm going to sprinkle some of them into here just to give the bookshelf a little bit more color, tie in with Leonard's wreath. If not, that's okay. Leonard can be more of the centerpiece, which he should be with the king he is. Let's move on to making the Hobbit door.
A few moments later.
I almost put everything away, And then I realized that I was going to put lights on here. Okay. I forgot that I was going to sprinkle in some lights. So let's do that. Moment of truth. Oh, it looks so good. I'm so glad I remembered. Nice. From the last time we checked into, I also moved one of the little bushes and moved it down a little bit to kind of even it out a little more. I'm really pleased. I'm glad I remembered. Yay me. We're gonna go with the plan of maybe adding a little bit more color, but having the light definitely helps. With all that said, finally, we can move on to the next step. I am very excited because today we are starting the Hobbit door. Here is the old Christmas decoration after I painted it all black. Just your basic acrylic paint. And to make the door, I'm going to be using foam sheets. I think honestly the best way to do this is going to be having the sheet go like this. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to trace around the circle on the foam board. And then for the little ends, I'll just take away from the extra. Now that we have the circle made, I like the little spaces in between each parts. So I am going to cut strips. Cool, I thought I was recording that, but I wasn't. I'm going to use a wood burner and we're going to carve some detail into it. Okay, so not a lot of rhyme or reason went into how I detailed each of the pieces. I just looked at a reference photo, practiced on some smaller bits of foam before actually going into the Hobbit door because I didn't want to mess this up, especially with a hot tool, and just carved in the lines. When that was done, I went outside and used contact cement to attach the panels to the Hobbit door. Luckily, it was super nice outside after a whole week of being super cold, so this was nice to be outside. Plus, this stuff smells disgusting. After that, to prep it for painting, I just coated it in a couple of layers of Plasti Dip. For the door handle, I used foam clay again and just shaped it like a door handle, using my palms and flattening the bottom so it could attach to the door easier. Once that was finished, I just let it sit overnight and it was ready for painting. Moving right along, we are now going to put the fabric on Leonard's door. This is the fabric that I got for it. It's just a felt. Got 4 yards of this, so this should be plenty. To attach the fabric to the door, I'm going to be using these Velcro patches. First things first is to remove the boy.
They ask you how you are, you just
My boy! It's okay, bud. So now I'm going to cut off the excess fabric as well as cut a hole for the handle. Did have to make a little patch because I made the hole for the door handle a little too big, but if we ever do decide to use this closet again, it still opens and closes just fine. There are a couple other things I want to add on to this, but for now, we're in a pretty good spot. What I have been working on is painting everything. So I painted the Hobbit door. And how I did that was I first did a base layer of green. and then just layered dark greens, light greens, more dark greens when I didn't like the highlight. And because I wanted the door to look worn, I added some weathering around the edges as well. So while that dries, I thought that we could work on the little wreath that's going to go on the door. While I was at Joann's, I happened to go to one of the locations that had their liquidation sale. And I bought a bunch of moss. I wanted a huge variety. The more different colors, the better. Oh yeah, I also have fairy lights that I'm going to wrap around the wreath. I also have all the little mushrooms. Did all those as well too. So let's, on this low energy day, sit down, juggaloo gun out, grab your moss and your mushroom, and let's just start putting things together. And with that, my friends, we are ready for the reveal. It is done. You know when you have an idea in your head and sometimes it just doesn't turn out the way it was pictured? This is what I pictured in my head, and I'm so happy that it turned out this way. It took a lot of work. There were a lot of new things I tried out for this video, crafts that I've wanted to do for a long time. Seeing my favorite YouTubers doing these crafts made me want to do them even more. So, that being said, there's not much I would change, but there are a few little nitpicky things, like all the wrinkles on the door. When I was putting the fabric on, I was kind of doing it haphazardly, so I could have took the time and snug onto the door a little bit more, especially on the top. I do love the little extra dimension panels that I put on here. All I did was do the same exact steps for the Hobbit door, but instead of green, I did like normal wood, or at least close enough to blend in a little bit. I should have flipped them to the side so it can blend in more with the way the bark is going. The bookshelf, I love. I'm so happy I did remember to put the lights on. As frustrated as I was, it all worked out in the end. Because I put the mushrooms on the little dimension pieces for Leonard's door, I ended up not putting any of the mushrooms on the vines, but I did add a couple little butterflies to add a little bit more color and to tie everything in. A little makeup vanity area with the greenery, little picture I found at Joann's, as well as updated makeup space. I also, off camera, crocheted this earring holder because the amount of times that I forget that I have pieces of jewelry because I don't see it is more often than you think. So having this right here is really nice. I did my makeup this morning with the new setup, and I just felt a little better looking up and seeing all the greenery and seeing all the cute mushrooms. Speaking of mushrooms, last but not least, the Hobbit door. I am so very happy with how this turned out. It is so cute with the little butterfly and all the little mushrooms I made and the moss. Everything just came together. Also, at nighttime, when the lights are off and you can just see the little fairy lights and the lights on the bookshelf. So pretty. Love it. So that's it. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey. This is definitely my longest video that I've made so far. If you like what you see, why don't you subscribe? Hit the like button and let me know in the comments below what you would like to see from me. My little whimsical fingers in there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye. 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 Good. Bye. I don't even know that song. Ovals. That's what they're called. Well, it's a little bit dangerous, my friend. It's not easy being green. Kermit. Put it all on the line. Okay, I'll stop doing this one. Well, it's a little bit dangerous, my friend. Time-lapse time. Time-lapse time. I don't know why I did that.